Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to talk about some tips for reading more. So once again, welcome back. I am so glad you decided to click on this video. Like I said, today I'm going to talk about some tips for reading more books. So until about 2018, I really was not much of a reader. I read like 2 or 3 books a year, and starting then I really got more into where in 2023 I read over 200 books. So I just want to share how I kind of went from that just 5 years ago into where I am now. And yes, I know I made a video that was about how I'm going to read less in 2023, and while that is still a goal for me, it doesn't mean it's a goal for everybody. So with that, let's just get into the tips. So my first tip for reading more is to find a community, whether that is bookish friends online, a book club in your community, an online book club, whoever. Having friends that are also readers that you can talk about books with, you can recommend books to each other, and just generally get excited about is so huge. Reading itself is such a solitary activity, so having a group that you can go and discuss with is huge. Truly. I was already reading quite a bit, but when I joined my first in-person book club, like, my reading skyrocketed because I was hearing what other people were reading. We were discussing this stuff, and honestly, it just made such a huge difference. Additionally, joining the book community online, whether Instagram, YouTube, on TikTok, like, those friends that I have made on Bookstagram are just like, these are people I talk to all the time. I find out new books coming out from them, like everything. It really makes a difference. My second tip for reading more is to expand your reading into different genres. So I know a lot of people really stick to what they know. They're like, I'm a romance reader, but it really can break up some monotony if you start to get into a reading slump. If you're reading from different genres and just different types of books. For me, I read pretty much a little bit of everything. I don't really read fantasy at all though, and I don't read a lot of romance. So for me, it's easy to kind of expand my horizons because I do like so many different things. I like reading nonfiction. I like horror. I like mysteries. I like literary fiction. I like women's fiction. Like, I like a little bit of everything. And that really, for me, keeps me invested because sometimes, you'll be reading a thriller and then you read another thriller. And as much as I love thrillers, I really, really do, they kind of get repetitive. There's only so many ways you can do a thriller, and they can be kind of formulaic. So to mix up some thriller with, like, even if that's your favorite genre, some like just mystery type of thrillers, or maybe go to the other extreme and get into horror. There's so many good books out there in every genre, and I feel like if you are constantly just reading in the same genre, you're going to get burnt out and you're not going to want to read anymore. So I feel like this will really help if you're kind of struggling to get through books. My third tip is to establish a routine with your reading, whether that is getting up in the morning and reading for 30 minutes while you have breakfast, whether it is putting on an audiobook and, while you get ready for work. I just think that having set times when you are reading can really increase the quantity with which you read because you know that time is coming and that time is yours. While my schedule can be kind of chaotic, when I'm at home, I have a pretty good routine. I usually scroll on my phone in the morning when I'm having coffee, but then I'll read for maybe half an hour before I kind of get going with my day. Throughout the day, I'll maybe read here and there, but I always end up going to bed before my husband, and I'll lay in my bed and listen to an audiobook and play games on my phone, or I will read on my Kindle while I'm in bed waiting to get sleepy. So these are just routines that I have where I know those times of the day are like Laura's reading time, and for me that really helps. I imagine it would be even more helpful if you are a parent and you are taking care of kids all day and you don't really have a ton of time just for you, that setting aside that time routinely is gonna be good in all ways for your reading and also just for your mental health. My fourth tip for reading more is to listen to audiobooks. It took me a really long time to get into audiobooks. My mom has been an audiobook fanatic since like the first audiobook ever came out. The majority of her reading is in audiobook format. And like I said, it took me a while. I had to kind of start with some nonfiction to kind of convince myself I was listening to a podcast, and my mind would wander. But I did just get to a point after doing it enough where I can listen to an audiobook no problem at all, and I listen to it sped up, usually at like 2 times speed, but no pressure to ever do that. But for me, it's just much easier to listen and go about my day. I live in a city, so I walk everywhere, and I'll just pop in my AirPods and listen to a book while I'm doing errands, while I'm going, on my way to work, and I get so much reading done that way. At this point in the month, I have read 12 books so far, and 6 of them have been audiobooks. So I really listen to audiobooks just as much as I read with my eyes. Don't let anybody say that it's not reading, because it is. You're consuming the media, you're reading these books, you're reading with your ears. And I will not be taking questions at this time about that. But it can be hard to find the time to sit down and read and concentrate. So honestly, I think that audiobooks are just an absolutely perfect way to overcome that. And you can really do it while you're doing anything, washing dishes, cleaning the house, picking up your kids after school. Like, you can do it anywhere. And I think that that is just such like a boon when it comes to reading more books. And my last tip is a tip that will surprise no one, because I talk about this all the time, and that is to DNF books that are not serving you. If you're new to my channel or new to reading, DNF means did not finish. So if you are reading a book and it's just not sitting with you, you guys are not gelling together, put it down. There is literally no reason to keep going. And I know there are plenty of people that are like, well, I feel like I have to finish it once I've started it. And like, no, you don't. I mean, if that's something you choose to do, then that's your prerogative. But I am not going to be sitting around wasting time reading books that are just not doing anything for me. I have so many unread books, and I have so many unread books that I don't own that I wish I did. I don't have time to read books that I don't think are good, or I think I'll come out the other side feeling like I wasted my time. So for me, the DNF is just such a crucial part of my reading, because time is scarce, We all have 24 hours in the day, and if we are just wasting time reading books that aren't for us, then I don't know what to tell you. I think that it is just something that needs to be normalized a little more, and people just need to respect it a little more. Surprise! Here is a bonus tip, and that is to utilize your local library. So I never really used the library as an adult until just maybe a few years ago, and it is just the best resource between being able to, physically go check out books, but also get books on Kindle or audiobooks on Libby. I mean, there's just so many options. I will link above my video with the best apps for readers, and I do speak about the app Libby on there, so definitely recommend that. Additionally, there are several libraries that you do not have to live in the county or the city to get those. So I will leave a link down below with those listed, because I end up getting a lot of my books from the Broward County Library in Florida, and you don't have to have residency there to be able to get books out of there. So I just think there's a couple other too. There's one in Brooklyn, I believe. I just think it's really cool, and it definitely opens up options for people that maybe don't have as great of a selection at their local library. So those are my 5+ bonus tips on how to read more books. I really hope this helps anybody out. And again, just keep in mind that reading is not a competition. This is for fun. Reading is for joy, and it's just not something that if you don't feel like reading, you should force yourself to do. But I do know some people just end up taking a long time and they're frustrated by it. So hopefully these tips can help that along a little bit if that's something you're looking to change. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed, please do, and I will see you in the next one.